All right, welcome back to the Crave Show. We're here with me, Chris. We got JRuss, and tonight we got a special guest, Mr. Frank Eloff. How you guys doing?
Doing all
Good.
right.
Hi, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Frank. Frank, this is we've never actually met before, so I'm
No,
really happy to meet you, man. This is
nice
awesome.
to meet you too, Chris. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us, man. So we actually were. I mean, you and I, Frank, we were shooting the bull a minute ago, talking a little bit before we started up, and you were telling me. I just got to bring it up that you were saying you were just on a podcast with Waz recently, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that was very fun.
He's a
Very
fun
fun.
guy.
He's a very
Well,
fun guy. I like him a lot. He's also
yeah,
an amazing flyer.
he is, and
He
he's a
is.
very good coach as well. Very good
I,
coach.
di- I didn't have any coaching with him, but I hear that he's amazing as a
Yeah,
coach too.
yeah, he's a lot
He,
of fun.
I ran into him at the indoor nationals, but he didn't remember who I was. I don't
What?
think. Yeah, like I kind of, he was walking past me and I just kind of tapped him on the arm as I came in. He gave me this real quizzical look and then
Well,
I had,
it is when you're in the zone. Sometime if he's
yeah,
competing.
yeah. We were only
Man,
there for one day, so I'm not sure if I didn't see him compete, but
yeah.
anyway, he was at nationals.
Well, man, Frank, there's so much. I mean, I know a little bit about you, but there's a bunch of stuff I don't know about you. So, I mean, can you just tell me a little bit about yourself? Like, first of all, where you live. I mean, I know some of this stuff, but where do you live? What do you do? Give me a little bit of background of how whatever you want to share about what's it like to be Frank Eloff.
What's it like to be? Not much. uh, I'm living in Illinois right now. Professional skydiving. Whatever job is related to skydiving. So probably what I'm doing every day, and I enjoy a lot doing that. Uh, as you can hear my accent from France. I was born in France, born and raised as my mom can, most as possible. Um
When did you
raised
do your very first skydive and why?
My very first skydive. So I'm third generation skydiver. So mom,
Four.
dad, third.
Oh, third.
Mom, dad, and mom, father.
Wow.
So I probably did my first skydive in mom belly. At the time, that was acceptable in the mid 70, not early
She was
70.
pregnant and she was skydiving.
I don't know. It's probably I was
It's
born.
possible.
She was already a jumper. At the time, it's not like today. Now you do that, and it's going to be on Facebook, and everybody is going to argue on that. At the time, I believe that was more like, well, if he's not strong enough, he's not strong enough.
Hey, I guess you turned out all right. You look fine to me.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
It
So
worked out.
I was around 6 months. I was already on the drop zone, but strangely, no one, either me or my three brothers, no one has been really interested on skydiving, and someone offered me a skydive. Uh, in France, you can do your first skydive by yourself, like the Cat A from IFF, and that's it. If you want to keep going, you keep going. If you don't want to keep going, you don't keep going. And someone offered me that, and so early 2000, so something like 2002, I believe.
And how old were you?
How old?
How old were you
Late,
on that first?
uh, late 20s, something like
Okay.
this.
So even though you grew up around skydiving, you didn't do your first jump until
I
in your
did
late
not.
20.
Yeah, I was very ready, a baby when my mom was still skydiving. After she
Okay.
quit skydiving after. So she probably quit when I was 4, and after the subject was absolutely not in the family. Beside my grandfather, who was really more passionate, I believe. I
Mm.
mean, my mom was passionate too, but
Did you say you have 3 brothers?
yeah,
So there's 4 boys in your family. That's awesome.
yep.
That's me and my wife. We have 4 boys.
Huh. I hear it's better than four girl.
So where are you in the four?
I'm number 2.
You're number 2.
It's
All right,
the thing
cool.
on my life.
So after you did that first skydive, were you immediately like hooked and like you went for it, or
Yeah,
what was it like?
instantly I was hooking it. Like I really love it. That was like revelation. And I had one of my friend who before that asked me a few times, "Hey Frank, we should go for a skydive. We should go for a skydive." So after I did this first one, I came back to my buddy and like, okay, let's do that. It's fun. And he did his IFF, which is he called the pack in French, but that's the same thing. And he never jumped after. He did his 7 jump and he was done.
Dude, isn't that, we've talked about this before, but that is the most common story I hear, where one person invites their friend to skydive,
Yeah,
and the one that was invited ends up being a skydiver for life, and the original guy or girl never does it again.
yeah.
Haven't we talked about
It's
that, JRuss?
It's my story.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
so common.
I think like he's from the same years as me, and in 2 years we're gonna be 50. So I'd like to get him on the 10M at least.
Yeah,
I don't think he's gonna jump by himself, but I'd like to get him on the 10M.
yeah. So now you live in Eloy,
Mm-hmm.
and what do you do?
IFF 10M. I work a lot with JRuss.
Yeah.
We work the
Really
same
like
military
it.
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I do whatever is kind of related to skydiving as a job.
Rigger.
Rigger, uh, yeah, everything.
Frank is what you're assembling my rig. You disassembled and I had
I
some work
just
done on my
assume,
rigs, and
yeah,
Frank's
yeah.
reassembling my rigs.
But
You're an SNTA at Eloy, is that right?
SNT, okay, yeah, I'm SNTA, IFFI, 10 instructor. Was it the question? Like you asked me the rating I have?
What do you do?
Okay, yeah. So IFFI, 10M, coach. I do a lot of angle coaching, free fly sometime. Um, military rigging. I like rigging, but I don't do much that I can do myself, because in between my wife and I, we already got 10 rigs. Like that's I already got a lot of job from me. But after, yeah, when my friend are like, "Hey, you want to do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, cool."
I was one of those recently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
okay,
fine.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. I'm happy to do that. It's in Eloy in summer. The afternoon is pretty. It's pretty. You can't go outside. It's too warm. So if you are stuck for the summer here, rigging is a good. I got a little loft with AC, and that's my happy place. Afternoon.
All right. So why do you skydive? What do you like about skydiving? Like,
It's
why is it
cool.
good?
It's cool. Have you ever worked in an office job before? I did. I did. I had a real life before, and it was. I mean, the job by himself. I was already skydiving, but the job by himself, I was good at what I was doing, but I had absolutely no interest. Like on morning, I'm happy even if I wake up at 4 through 3:30 a.m. to go jump. I'm happy to wake up at this time to go for some skydive.
Yeah. What do you feel or think about when you're skydiving?
Well, usually I got a mission. If someone pay me to skydive, I got something to do. But if I'm not working, I don't think, I like to say, if I do a fun jump, I like to get the monkey with the cymbal
Yeah.
telling me what to do, and just
What does that mean?
slide.
Frank and I
Nothing.
have done one fun jump. I think
Yeah,
one, right? One.
yeah.
And I was like, what do you want to do? No plan. Don't talk to me. Let's just jump out of the plane.
Yeah, you exit and you slide. I like to say to my student, like, the air is just like when you swim. You feel something, but it's not really there. I mean, it's recently I had a conversation with Maxime Tet about the texture of the air, and that's what you're doing. You just there is this texture and you're sliding in it, and I like that.
Interestingly,
Is that very
I've
French
never
of
heard it
me?
put that way, and I like it.
yeah, yeah. I went to the Hall of Fame induction ceremony last summer in Chicago, and you sound very similar to Olaf with like,
Olaf?
yeah,
Oh,
Olaf is
Zipser?
way more German than I am.
yeah,
Actually, don't forget. Do you see what happened to
yeah.
Olaf? Something
I was going to
happened.
talk about it at
So
the end,
if
but
you are
yeah,
rich, and even if you're not rich, just give a bit of money to help him. I
Wait,
don't
what are you
exactly
talking
know
about?
the
he he had some kind of small injury that resulted in a blood clot in his leg, and I'm certainly not in the know about all of it, but basically, I believe his leg became gangrenous, and he
Oh
had
no!
to have it removed.
Oh
So
no!
he is, I think, around the knee area. He lost his leg below the knee or maybe mid thigh.
Oh man!
But I want to. Was he in Argentina? Uh,
I wonder if he was not in Thailand.
Thailand. There you go. Thailand. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But there's a GoFundMe. I think it's been kind of
yeah.
circulating on social media, and like a lot of skydivers, Olav is not wealthy. So something like this is a hard hit
Well, like
on,
any cadaver of us.
yeah. Just financially, it's tough, and certainly he's made a heck of a contribution to the sport of skydiving, and
Man.
hopefully there's some people out there who are going to help support his recovery.
Hmm.
Hmm.
But
However, I don't think he's got a French accent. I
no, he
think his
doesn't.
accent is way more
Austrian, German,
German than me.
yeah. But at the induction ceremony, he was talking about how he had grown up as a child being a swimmer, and like his basically his movement through the medium of water really helped him sort of the idea of flowing through the air, a very similar medium to be moving through and
Oh,
manipulating,
that's
and
interesting.
yeah, it's similar to what you said.
I never met him personally, but that's a good start.
Yeah. Um, so I also had written down to ask you how you started in skydiving. One of the things that I, I, I mean, just generally, I wanted to. There was an accident in Eloy that I had commented on publicly with Jay Sanders swooping. I'm going to say about a month ago, maybe a little bit more. That I just wanted to clear up for anybody listening. I had posted that it may have been related to a spiral lock issue because he was on a seated harness, I believe, as of his own creation. Um, it wasn't a mutant, but after hearing a little bit more about that situation, it was not actually a spiral lock. But I wanted to bring it back up, not only to clear that up, to make sure that I guess that there wasn't my misinformation out there that that it had been a spiral lock, because it was not. But I also wanted to add that in sort of hearing about that incident, that although I don't think Jay was technically on current because of his experience level, quite high number of jumps. I heard around 27,000. I cannot totally confirm that, but certainly I've known Jay for a long time, and that's not out of the question. Um, but from my perspective, as almost like I have almost the same number of jumps as Jay. If I go a couple months without jumping, which I believe is accurate about him, that I consider myself very uncurrent. Normally, I'm going to be out almost 2 months because of my surgery, and my first jumps back will be incredibly conservative on my what I do in free fall, how high I pull. My
Hmm.
landings will be very, very conservative. And I think that in the case of Jay, um, that was not the case, that he had been out for a few months. And go ahead. What's up, Chris?
Well, no. I mean, if you want to keep talking about that, that's fine. But at some point, I want you to give specifics about what you change. I think people need. I want to hear that when you say those jumps when you first get back. Those jumps will be conservative, and you're going
Yeah.
to make those changes. I want to hear what are you actually changing
Oh,
from what?
the actual,
I mean,
yeah,
but if you
the
want to talk
jumps will
about
be, hopefully it's got a Chicago, someplace I'm very comfortable with visually. I'm comfortable with the outs. I'm comfortable with the landing area. I know it all very, very well. The free fall itself will be something not challenging at all. A two-way with Steph. Something like Frank just said, like bang the cymbals, just go out and have fun. Like it won't be a VFS jump. It will not be something that I really have to focus on what I'm doing in free fall. It'll be more about just getting out in the sky and
But it won't
shaking
be
the
just
dust
it
off.
won't just be belly. I mean, you'll still
No,
fly and do
I
stuff.
mean, to be honest, I'm more comfortable free flying than I am belly flying. So it'll definitely be a jump like that.
Yeah.
My pull altitude will be higher.
Okay.
Normal
What
pull
would it
altitude.
normally be, and what will you change it to?
Yep. Normally 3.5 or thereabouts, and I would bump that up at least 1,000 feet.
Okay.
I think it's a good thing for anyone who is not current to do that. After concerning Jay, the investigation is not closed, so I don't want to go in too much detail, but I can for sure say that it was not a spiral lock. It was not in current on paper, at least. I don't know why he did this jump, why you can't know what was in his mind at this time, but the result is here. Nothing to do with the rig, like you say, that was his own build. Nothing to do with that. It's just
but it was a low turn, and as I understand it,
so first I wasn't there. I wasn't there this day. I mean, I was at the drop zone, but I did not see from my eyes at the time. But it was not a spiral. I saw the video. It's not done, so I don't want to go too far on that till the
Fair enough.
FA or whoever is in charge of closing this investigation was done.
yeah. So I guess I'm not part of the investigation, and what I'm saying is what I have picked up from what I feel are reliable people around the incident that
He's a totally reliable guy. I mean, he was
Yeah.
totally reliable. He was first an amazing person and a great skydiver with I will say like he's someone like you in the swooping world, someone like you in VFS compared to the swooping world. So he's on the top. He was definitely on the top 10. But I mean, like swooping is extremely dangerous. We all know that, and we all lost people doing that. After, it's always surprising when it's someone with his I don't know who you say that. When you've been winning so much, no one expect that from you. That makes sense?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that was kind of my point. Is just if something like that can happen to Jay with just a little bit of uncurrency, I don't want to say complacency because I don't know that was the issue, but I think he was wearing a lot of weight and he hadn't jumped in a while, and both of those things, like wearing a lot of weight, in my opinion, is you need to be pretty current because it's
Yeah.
whatever is going to happen under canopy is going to be way less
But
forgiving.
you know what? On the same time, if you're not current, since he's constantly jump with weight, if you're not current and you jump without weight, it's almost more tricky. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And then Chris, just to finish answering your question, like my normal landing turn is 450, and I would not even I would be doing a 90 on my first couple jumps back, just at least the first one, probably the second, and then I mean a 450 is honestly a little bit more comfortable than a 90 normally because I don't do very many 90s, but I'm gonna do it high and come out high.
I mean, it's gonna be 2 months. It's nothing. Like most of the fun jumper who don't have your experience, they fun jump every 2 months.
Yeah, but I don't normally go more than a week without jumping, and so 2 months feels like a long time.
That actually brings up an interesting thought for me, and I really don't know how to think about this because I'm thinking back to when I was in high school and I was playing tennis, and I played tennis like really, I played every single day, every day. Me and my friends, we either had practice at school or we would go hit or whatever, you know, all throughout the summer, all year long, every single day I was playing tennis. And I can remember those times when I would go, you know, for whatever reason, I would get sick or go with my family somewhere, or whatever. And maybe I couldn't play for like, let's just say even just 4 days. And I would come back and I hadn't played for 4 days. And that first time back on the court, everything felt so awkward and weird. And it just like my body wasn't moving and working the way that I wanted it to, you know, it just felt off. Um, and then now, like I don't play tennis hardly at all, but I'll go play with my sons because they play. So we'll go hit and, you know, we'll get out there on the court and we'll hit for a couple hours. And then maybe 2 weeks later, I'll go hit again. And it feels exactly the same. Like
Yeah,
because
but
I'm at a very low level of ability.
you're not practicing anymore as a professional.
Well, that's what I'm
I
saying. Like,
believe what JRuss and what happened to Jay, it's their high skill level
yeah, I think that's exactly right. And that's kind
whatever.
of,
So you can even you at the point that you can even coach yourself, and you know, like, oh, I'm not at on the top of my skill right now, and you're able to evaluate that, which is probably not what happened now that you are a fun jumper, a tennis player. You know, I know a lot about tennis. um, it's totally different, you know.
but but like when I think about it like that, it almost makes me think that we have it backwards. Because like you said, Frank, a lot of fun jumpers, especially when they first get started, they're jumping like once once or twice a month. You know, they're
Yeah.
just not jumping that much. But their skill level is so low that to feel off or to not know what you're doing, everything they're doing is so basic and so low that and I'm just shooting off the top of my head. I'm not saying I'm right. This is just what I'm thinking in the moment.
Mm.
But
At,
the
at,
higher your skill level gets, the more advanced everything you're doing and the quicker you can get off. I mean, you can within a few days of not jumping, like you said, Jairus, feel like this is not right. I haven't, because you're
mm.
performing at such a high level. So why do we say that D license and the most advanced, the most skilled people who are doing the most difficult things can go the longest amount of time without being current? That actually seems a little bit backwards.
Yeah, I think also there is a the wind tunnel now. So a lot of skydivers feel current at skydiving because even if they don't go for skydiving for like in France, I've been skydiving 15 years in Europe. Well, nothing it's open for 2 months during the winter. Like right now, I'm living in Arizona. We're jumping 7 day, 7-7. Uh, but in Europe, the whole Europe is done for 2 months
Mm-hmm.
during the no maybe a country like Spain or Portugal, maybe the south of Italia you can go skydiving. But most of the people they're just gonna go to the wind tunnel, and so they keep themselves current. The only not current thing is the canopy, but the European rule canopy wise are so different than here. Here, whoever want to buy a cross brace, and go skydive with it, you know. So it's just a question of money. Over there is some rules for that. So those people, gonna pay more attention for the landing, and they are surrounding. There is some. It's like the SNTA kinda, but you know they're gonna surround those fun jumper. They are fun jumper. I'm not talking about professional. I'm talking about random skydiver. Uh, and they're gonna be surrounded by people who knows better than them, and like, hey, you know, that's your first jump in 2 months. It's kind of a safety day, but it's the day one of the season, which is probably, I believe, specifically for France. Basically, the drop zone reopened. The south of the country drop zone gonna reopen end of February, probably beginning of March. So you didn't jump from mid-December to March, everybody is kind of in current, even the instructor, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Frank, just getting. I'm going to keep going down my list of questions. So as one of the, are there more than one SMTAs at Eloy, or are you the one?
Oh, no, there is like 5 or 6.
Okay. It's been, so 2024 was the lowest number of fatalities in the sport of skydiving, I believe, since they started recording those statistics.
Yeah.
And then, but
It was a single digit, wasn't it? It was like 9, wasn't it?
7 maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
This year,
Yeah.
well,
So this
yeah,
year's been already kind of tough just at Eloy.
yeah.
And
Well,
I
in Illinois,
think
we had 3,
3 fatalities
which is
skydiving.
already a lot, you know, like
Yeah.
it did not, but I believe there is a kind of first, it's a gigantic drop zone. It's
Yeah.
gigantic. The number of jump, like I know Chicago, where you spend your time, JRuss, is gigantic too, but it's closed during winter.
Yep.
So the number, the percent of number is gigantic here. Yeah, of course you're gonna have more problem in this type of drop zone, but also in the same time, exactly what I was saying. The people who skydive in I will say Chicago or Canada, it's snowing everywhere. They are done for 3, 4, 5 months. I don't know, and they're like, oh, let's go have a trip in Skydive, Arizona, and they are on current themselves, and they put themselves in danger. And here, well, everybody is jumping 7 days by week, you know, so people don't pay attention on who, well, is coming from another drop zone, but is current on paper, which if you got a D license, you can be current with almost 6 months off.
What I wanted to ask, and I don't know if you have thought about this, but with there was a wingsuit fatality, is that right?
Hmm?
And a belly jumper
Yes.
and Jay.
NJ.
Anything that's consistent between those 3 people, and like a trend, or are they just random events that happen to occur in the beginning of the year?
I think it's, I mean, like, first, we can't put Jay in the same, I would say bag. I'm sorry if it's not the
It's okay.
right word.
Yeah.
Because the 2 other people were 200 jump each.
Okay.
So Jay is on another world. He's a professional. It's totally different. And those 2 people, they were not extremely experienced, but they had 200 jump each. I don't know exactly. No, I don't think there is any link in
So just
between.
they happen to occur
Yeah,
in the first few months of the year.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
Okay.
like it's a cycle, I believe, but the cycle have been extremely close this year.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's some year that there is no death at Skydive Arizona, but it will always get some death because people do mistake. They don't. Of course, no one want to die. They don't do that in purpose, you know. Like, instead, unless you say, "Hey, that's a suicide," which doesn't happen often. It's just a human mistake. Like, those 3 people, the rig were totally fine. They were fine on paper. They were current on paper. They had all the requirement, license, everything, you know. So it's just a,
So if there was a theme between the 3 of them, it's just people make mistakes.
yeah, and it's at the same place,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And those 2 other people, they were not from Skydive, Arizona. One was just moving to Skydive, Arizona recently, moving to Phoenix maybe, and the second one, or the first one, the belly flyer, which was a female, was from another state, a winter state, like I would say high state, snow, but she was correct. So
Okay. Um, Chris, because I'll keep asking questions, but do you have anything?
No.
You're okay. Um, and I was at such a large drop zone. Like I remember, I don't know, 15 years ago, Brian Burke wrote an article for Parachutist about, it was kind of trends that he saw. For those people who didn't know, Brian Burke was what what's his title, like ground
He
control?
was the I believe the ground manager
Yeah,
SNTA, and he's been doing that like he's been doing that probably is 30 years, something like this. I mean,
yeah,
that was the number was crazy. So he's probably the guy who has been seeing the most accident fatality in the world,
for
and
sure.
I believe, I mean, you've been witnessing a fatality. Uh, it's hard. It's
Yeah,
hard in your brain, like it's and 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 he's been doing that, and also on the side, this guy was making some number, writing everything. Like he was not just saying, "Oh, another one," No, he was like, "Okay, what age is this guy? What he was doing? He's making things. He's doing report about that."
like keeping statistics about
Statistic.
those
Thank
incidents.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you for the
yeah,
word.
yeah.
And
But
it's helpful. It's very helpful. And it was when I arrived. So I arrived 10 years ago at Scala, Arizona. He was still there because I believe he quit in 21. And I remember him coming to me like, "Hey Frank, we're gonna talk about what are the rules in France, what you're doing for this, what you're doing for that," because most of the accidents arrive under perfect canopy open canopy. So skydiving by himself, the skydive, almost no one die on skydive. People die on uh, under canopy, unless you don't open your canopy, which is
yeah, so I guess the reason I brought up Brian was that article that I read where he talked about trends, and I'm curious. So you've been at Arizona for 10 years. How long have you been functioning as an SNTA? You've been full time staff the whole time?
no, 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 no. Well, first, I become legal to work in. I was coming in vacation during the winter, so 6 month vacation, 6 month Europe at the time, and I become legal to work in 2018. So I started working at Scala in 18.
Okay, so
Uh,
7-ish years,
yeah.
and kind of the same thing. Like um, as somebody that's sadly witnessed and had to be a part of a bunch of accidents and sort of been, but also just been around the drop zone. You're working full time for years there. Do you see trends? Are there things that have happened that you say, oh yeah, that happened again, or it's a consistent thing, or information that you would think, hey, if people maybe had this little bit of information, maybe it could have been different.
So I don't. I think sometimes you met people and someday it's gonna happen. And strangely, that's the. I think the problem today is people doesn't know how to listen. So and I talk extremely simple just because of my English level. So I'm pointing simple things. So I hope when I'm done talking with those people at the end of the conversation, they remember what was the question at the beginning. Instead of talking, 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 and at the end you don't even know where you start. You know. But I believe that sometimes you met people and you like is one of them. Something's gonna happen to him. And sometimes they pass, sometimes they don't, but often they get really hurt, which is enough for me to be sad.
Hmm. And the commonality there is in your opinion at least, that they're not very good at listening.
No, no, yeah, maybe, um, or sometimes they listen, but they don't understand. That makes sense? Or they don't want to understand because they think they are not concerned by that. Say, hey, you see this person is being doing this, you're doing exactly the same thing, it's dangerous. It's gonna happen, you know. And unfortunately it happened.
All right.
That's a very sad podcast here.
Yeah, we're gonna move on.
You, hey, let me
Well,
breathe.
so one of the other things that I want to talk about, when Frank and I are together, which is pretty often actually, Frank likes to make fun of me for being old, and I like to make fun of him for having an accent that no one can understand. Although, as hopefully
Because
everybody
I was born 15 minutes after him.
before,
Before.
after, so some of the yeah. So what I wanted, one of the things I want to talk about that's going to be a little bit funny is you became an American recently, a few years ago.
Yeah, a few years ago.
You were legal to work in, you said 17 or 18?
18, but become American in 21.
21, so just a couple of years.
Yeah.
Tell us about that process. How was it?
To get the citizenship.
Yeah.
Well, actually, to get the citizenship is way more easy than having a green card.
Huh?
Yeah, I've heard
Right.
that.
First, I want to say, like, if some of my friends from France listen to me, I'm dual citizen. I just want to make that. I did not.
Still French.
Yeah, very French. Everybody know that. But it's also an honor, like, to be part of those people who get the chance to get that. The process was pretty easy for me because I got married. Okay, so the green card is extremely hard because I believe a lot of people are faking a wedding. That was not my case. I mean, I hope.
At least not for you. Maybe for her.
I hope. And that was very hard to get this green card. The citizenship was also because I did not get a lawyer. If you are, it's a real marriage. If you are in love, you like everything is with flower and blue sky, and you're going to the green card, and they put the light in your face, like, tell me about that and tell me about this, and you're like, wow. Like I did not prepare anything. I show up my hand in my pocket and a flower in between the teeth. My wife prepared a bunch of things, and yeah, that was pretty hard. And also because we are so bad, Amy and I are so bad at date that we were in the car driving to the meeting, like, hey, do you remember which day we got married? Because they're gonna ask us that. And we had to remember that. And that's very funny because recently that was our anniversary and both of us forgot it. so that was a real, like, everything was real, and it was not a good time, but after a few hours you got out. They told you directly, okay, either you are the best liar in the world, or you're already married, so you are good to go now. But the citizenship by himself was pretty easy. At this time we had a lawyer. It was way more easy. Yeah.
Did you have to take a test about your knowledge of America?
Yes. That was pretty fun because there is an app for that, which is make it pretty easy. And I remember, well, as a pro skydiver, where is the time that you always get time to just think about you? It's the 20 minutes in the plane. I know you're reading constantly on your phone, and you know how much I like to bother you when you read. But I was with my app in the plane, and it became the game at the drop zone because all the people that was surrounding me, during those flights were like, "Hey, Frank, give us a question. Give us a question."
Do you
And
remember one? Can you ask us a question that you
Yeah,
think Americans
let's
probably
see if
don't
we
know?
know
there was a lot of questions that Americans don't know for sure. A basic question. A question that I knew before was like, which state has been French and been sold to the USA?
Louisiana.
Louisiana. So, question like this that were, who was against the USA during World War II? Who was the president during World War One? What was the first state in USA?
the first state.
Yeah,
Huh.
that's
Uh,
Connecticut, New York.
Maryland.
I
Hmm?
would have guessed
Was it
like Rhode
Maryland?
Island or Delaware or something like that.
That's the one on the East Coast, basically, where
Yeah.
the boat arrived first, I believe. Stuff like this. It
Hmm.
was pretty pleasant. It was pleasant also because everybody around the drop zone was supporting me on that. At the same time, I did compete for USA just with my green card, and which I
At
was
what?
thinking like, huh? Free
At what?
fly,
What
free
discipline? Free
fly,
fly? Like the
free
2A
flies.
with a
You were
camera?
you were there, you were
Oh
there,
yeah.
and when we did the walk, with the flag and everything. Uh, so my French were here. Of course, there was some French that I knew. They were like, "Come on, Frankie, you come, you're gonna do that." And so the U.S. people were like, "Since you're not American, you can't hold the flag, but you're gonna hold the sign." And that was a kind of because that was like just I become American a week after, but I had a meeting before, which you are accepted, but the ceremony is like maybe 2-3 weeks after. I don't remember, but it was fun. It was harder psychologically because you kind of like it's like if you shoot your country in the back. And I'm gonna sit again Maxine because Maxine has been part of that, Maxine Tate, and she's an amazing person and always with the good word. And she say, in 2 months you're gonna forget that and you're just gonna be happy, friend, with your two passport, and that's the case.
How much do you go back to France?
I try to go once a year if I can.
Your grandmother still there?
My grandmother is still there. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
see her as soon as possible. She's 95.
Hmm.
So my
Yeah.
grandmother, who was married with my grandfather, was cadaver.
Okay.
So yeah. So a few years ago, one day she arrived and she gave me the ring, my grandfather ring from the army, with the parachute on it, and I'm like, "Are you gonna die, grandma?" And this story was like maybe almost 20 years ago. Now
Wow.
she's still there, but I still have the ring. Actually, my mom is taking care of the ring.
Okay. Um. So Chris, you still good?
I'm good, man. I'm just listening.
Okay. Frankie, Steph and I went over to Dubai
Yeah.
for we've been back about a week, a little more, and they wanted to have a big way camp. But because I wasn't jumping, the management asked me to do a couple different things, working with the staff on different stuff. But one of the things was they have like a free fly school, but then also they have the AFFI staff who kind of uh, even when people are just done with AFF, they still work with the AFF instructors before they're kind of passed on to the free fly school. And the free fly school, they can do belly, they can do free fly, they can do angle, they can do whatever you want. The guys are all super talented flyers and good coaches. But I worked with the staff, the AFF instructors specifically, at their request to talk about developing a safer program for angle flying. That was one of the seminars that I mean, a seminar is the wrong word. I talked to them. They talked back. We tried to discuss the
Was
possibilities
a
around
chat.
that. What's that?
It was a chat.
Yeah. the chat. And I shared with them what we do at Chicago. I shared with them things that we do during Summerfest and the reasons behind what we do. And one of the parts of the conversation that came up was that in I don't know about Europe, but in UK, they have a free fly proficiency card. You've seen it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
And
we got
it's
that in France.
okay. So it's very specific, right? It's like you can do a 2-way, you can do a 4-way. You know what I mean? It gives like steps
Yeah, yeah,
and
I know.
progress towards being safe and understanding skill sets, and you have to demonstrate certain skills in order to be passed
Yeah.
on to the next level. Is there something like that for angle flying that is perhaps needed in the US, and would it be something that's implemented at the USPA level or at an individual drop zone?
I don't want anyone to think like, you know how much I like the rules. I know I'm the SNTA, but
Bang the
rules
cymbals.
is yeah. No, every time you put a rules, you take off some freedom to someone. It's the country of freedom. I understand that. So let's keep maximum of freedom. The rules who are already there, they are already there. I hear a lot of that's not a that's a common question, especially because I'm from Europe and in France we have a bunch of those things. So basically, you got your IFF, you need a kind of B license in USA to be able to jump with other people. You can jump by yourself for month, but you could not jump with someone else till you get I believe it called B2. And after there is another thing for the free fly. The free fly is cut in three parts. There is seat fly, tracking, and after head down and angle flying. Basically, the full you got the stamp to do whatever you want. Free flying, general free flying. Because here they say angle, and for them angle is not free flying. For me, angle is free flying. It's part of free fly.
Yep.
And after I know, so I had this conversation with the guy that I suggest you to get in your podcast, Zune.
Soon? Yeah.
There is a bunch of thing for the wingsuit too. Like you could not change the wingsuit without someone voucher for that. So someone's gonna. I don't want to talk too much about that because I don't know a lot about wingsuit, but like there is different size of wingsuit and there is different rating to get to change size, and we have also the same thing for the canopy. I believe you could not fly across breast before 2000 jump,
Hmm.
which I think it's very good. Maybe a bit too much. 2000 is maybe a bit too much.
Bless you.
Bless you. But I think like how many kids do we see having, I don't know, a basic canopy and let's say a Saber 2 S Fly or Pilot and go with not much experience more than that on a cross brace. You know, like you're like, come on. And so now with the previous canopy, which basic canopy, which is the best to learn how to do a hook turn, they're gonna try to do hook turn with something like they don't even know how it works, you know. Yeah, go
So,
ahead.
okay, America is the place of freedom. I get it. But is it safer in France because of those systems?
I don't know. That's a question for Zoom. You really have to get in.
Okay.
Is I don't know, but tell me how many angle accident? Like everybody is talking about angle. How many angle accident did we have last year?
I don't know. I mean,
Not that
uh,
much compared to home because a lot of people are doing some angle coaching, and with a very high skill level. Okay, people with 2, 3, 4,000 jump, they're gonna go do a fly for life, which is great. I wish I can go in one of those camps. I hear it's amazing, but those people, they are already extremely experienced, and they're gonna learn how to do something crazy technically. But the danger is not those people. The danger is the people with 70 jump going with, or one of the jump going with other people on some drop zone. So at Skydive Arizona, you have to follow a leader. You could not lead an angle till you got 500 jumper. So that's limit, at least for the navigation. But most of the accidents in angle, they don't arrive by navigation. They arrive by collide or
Right.
collision. What do you say?
Collision.
Collision. And that's very inexperienced skydiver who got that.
Okay, so are you arguing my point that we should have sort of a structured program for getting people to where they need to be? Or are
That's a
you saying
USP equation. That's a USP equation.
I'm asking the USPA representative Frank? It's just an opinion. You don't. I'm probably going to do what I'm going to do.
It could be a good thing, but you and I learn doing angle like 25 years ago, and to be honest, I've never been involved or in a jump who someone get hurt very bad by a collision. What could hurt for me, the basic hurt is someone who is inexperienced with a bad navigation, and people pull too low and you are too far from the drop zone, and now you have to land outside the drop zone, which I'm in the desert. There is sand everywhere. It's flat. It's not dangerous if you land outside. But now I used to jump in some drop zone in France. You're surrounding by forest, by power line, by a river, mountain. I've been jumping in Switzerland for years. It's there is a lot of danger if you have a bad navigation.
Yep.
And people often confusing angle coaching and angle navigation coaching.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think it's part of your. I'm sorry. Crab. I think Sharon Pleacher. Sharon is with you. Am I right?
Yeah,
And
that's correct.
she does some class for leading.
Yeah, the leading workshop. That's correct.
Exactly.
That's exactly right.
I do a lot of private coaching, which I of course include that in my coaching, but I know they probably do way more than I do, and it's a full class. I like the one-to-one coaching.
Yeah.
And also I don't coach everybody. I'm getting older. I decide that if I don't want to spend a dinner with you, I'm not coaching you.
A little more discriminating in your work.
Well, it's just like, if it's pleasant for me, we're not going to be rich doing what we're doing. Okay? You agree with me? So at least I want to get some fun. And what is the most fun that teaching someone who's going to success? You're going to bring someone who wants success, and you're part of his success. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as a recent immigrant,
we are back on the immigrant.
Yeah.
What do you like my American accent?
That's great.
Thank you.
Do you agree with President Trump that immigrants generally do the jobs that Americans don't want to do?
I guess there is a lot of people who want to do my job.
and
immigrant
and
or not immigrant.
Now that you're here, do we need a border wall?
A border wall?
Yeah.
No. You don't need a border wall. You need rules. There is rule every country, like even in France, there is a lot of illegal immigrants. And in France is a tiny country. We are 70 million people. Here we are 330,000 people.
Million.
The a million, sorry. The amount of money that you can get through the tax in this country is gigantic. In France, you can't get that much of people coming because at some point we don't have enough money to help everyone. And some country need help. Some country need help. But I kind of like what happened to me. Like you're ready. I don't know if everybody who got a green card think that, but it feels like if they give you a green card, it's because you deserve it. So maybe we need that everywhere. I don't know. But definitely some country, there is some really a lot of people who are so deep in sorry for this word, so deep in the shit that they need help. But you can't help everyone. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. All right. We're almost at an hour, Frank, which is not the limit, but normally where we stop. But I wanted everybody that's a professional skydiver, I wanted to give you a chance to say who sponsors you, who helps you be a professional skydiver.
Well, my wife first. My wife. Second, my budget. After I'm lucky to have a lot of people who has been helping me from the beginning. Right now, I'm working with Tom Fly, helmet and suit. They're doing a great job. I'm jumping aerodyne icon. So I know right now we don't know exactly what's gonna happen with them, but right now they are still there. They're still doing the job, and I'm still happy with the rig and the canopy that they provide me. I'm working with LMB, of course, LMB, Cypress.
Cookie?
My
No, you
body
have.
fresher. You have to get some fresher jersey.
So Fresh Air is
Fresher is Benjamin Ford.
Benji Ford, and he
Yeah,
does graphic design
exactly.
and
Is
production on stuff.
I don't. I'm having a bunch of his jersey, but he's just a nicest guy. You know, he's
Yeah,
amazing.
but you
Sure.
probably need to just full disclosure. You need to say where's Benji from.
England
No,
is English. English is Franco-English.
he's
Living
not.
in Mexico.
Benji is also French, and he's living in Mexico at the moment.
And you
He has
know,
less of a French accent than
you
Frank.
know him, and he is great, and not because he's French, because we all know that his nicest side is probably British.
Okay, so Frank, so every once in a while, we're going to get close to the end. I got to say something at the end that's not that nice, but we're going to laugh in the beginning. So Frank one day decided, somebody told him, maybe my wife, hey, go just ask JRuss about anything. Just pick a topic, go up and ask him about it and see what you get. And I didn't know that somebody had told him that. And he came up and said, hey, what do you know about Egypt? And I started talking about the pyramids and the difficulty of constructing the pyramids, and how it kind of didn't make sense, and like the 20-year span that they say it happened in, there's no freaking way that happened, and the number of stones, and just the craziness of the pyramids. And he I think he stepped away from the conversation like, man, I don't know how he knew that stuff. Like, but then he just started quizzing me on random shit all the time. Like, do you know about this? Do you know about this? And so our work days a lot of times are him coming up to me and saying, starting the morning with, hey, what do you know about this thing? But Frankie, are you aware? Because we talked about the pyramids, that, there's some
I'm
sort of
not good
new.
at pyramid.
Yeah. Do you guys know what LiDAR is?
Yeah.
The
LiDAR is
what?
like a LiDAR. It's a ground penetrating radar that they take from aircraft that overfly things and helicopters, and they can shoot this at the ground, and it penetrates the earth, and it can see structures and materials underneath the ground. You
So
heard
they
of
did
it,
that
Frank?
in Egypt.
Robot vacuum cleaners use it too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They
So
put
they
it
did
on.
that
They're
in
used, and
Egypt.
They
cars
did
use
that
it
in
now. All
Egypt. Have
sorts
you
of
guys heard this?
What is under the pyramid? Is that what you're gonna where you're gonna
That's
put
right.
it?
There's a huge structure underneath the pyramid.
Okay.
Huge
Wow.
columns, like I don't know how many, 15 or 20 columns that go hundreds of feet into the ground, and then at the bottom is this box, like a square structure. It's not a box, but a square room. And the speculation at this moment is that a long time ago somebody proposed that the pyramid was actually like an energy collecting structure, and they think that might actually be true.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And there's just a massive structure underneath. So I'll
So
keep,
that's brand new. This thing is new.
like 2-3 weeks ago. Yeah,
Okay, so I will have to check that. I want to
you'll have
come
to check
back
it.
on. I want to come back on what he was talking about the question, because I'm so happy. Often we work together, but we start very early, like maybe 4 a.m. And I show up at 4 a.m. and I got the question. And if he doesn't have the answer, I like that. Like I know he's gonna come back the day after. He's gonna. So I try to at least ask him a topic that I know. Often I come back on the water because I've been at first I love the sea and the ocean, and I've been living close by for years, so I know a little bit of that. But and it doesn't. You don't know a lot about sea, but I like when I got a topic that he doesn't know.
Okay, so I've got some sad news to share, but before that, Frank, can you tell Americans, everyone will get educated, what is the meaning of the middle finger?
Oh, so it's history because you didn't know that. Did I
I
teach you
didn't
that?
know.
Oh,
No,
Yeah.
okay,
I.
okay. Oh, that's great. That's great. So one morning, I arrived probably early at work, and I asked JRuss, "Do you know where it's coming from the middle finger?" And it's a true story. It's history. It's not a story. It's history. So historically, British and French love each other. We all know that. And
Best friends.
British have been trying to invade every country in the world, starting by USA. Uh, but they came up often in France, but they never stayed. So back in the day when they were using the bow and arrow, they needed to pull the arrow like this. And French and British were making some say it in English,
Prisoner of war.
prisoner of war, and they were cutting the finger, so they could not use the bow anymore. And I believe French were cutting this one. That's why British were cutting this one, and that's why French were doing that. And French were cutting those two, so British are doing that as a middle finger,
Yeah, so British fuck you is like 2 fingers up
two finger.
to show that they can still pull their bow.
Yeah.
And for French, it was one
Exactly,
finger up to show they
exactly.
can still pull their bow.
Because when if you shoot someone with a bow, it's a visual distance, like you can see each other, and from far away you can see a finger.
Cool.
I'm glad you remember that. I didn't remember that I told you this story. Now all the British gonna spit on me. Thank you for that.
They were doing it already.
Yeah, you're right. No, some of them are nice. Some of them.
So if are we close to done?
Yeah, I
I'm
think so.
done. Whenever you want.
Yeah. I'm out of questions. I need to talk to both of you guys after, but I wanted to tell just the people that watch the podcast that Steph and I worked in Dubai a couple weeks ago. They had requested that we do a couple things, Big Way Camp and a couple other things, and we left our kids, Mia, our dog, and CH, my bird, with Steph's parents. And sadly, a couple days into the trip, CH died. So I don't have a lot of information about it. She didn't suffer any trauma, but it's possible that as a female bird, she became what's called egg bound, which just means she had an egg stuck inside of her, and she's not with us anymore. So for those of you who are watching the podcast and appreciated seeing her, we'll all be missing her. So
Yeah.
sorry to report that. And I'm gonna. I'm going to have to keep myself in check, honestly. I talked to Steph a little bit about this because the bird was amazing. And every year I rescue birds. And I'm going to, I don't know, I'm really struggling with whether or not it's the right thing to do to extend the rescue process to the point the bird wants to stay with me, because I really would like to have another bird. So as friends of mine, you guys think about that, and you can tell me later if you think that's a good or bad choice. Whether I'm helping myself or helping the bird, I'm going to have to work on that one.
Yeah.
We're
But
sorry for that, JRuss.
Yeah.
I know he was a very close friend to you,
yeah,
and we love it.
yeah.
Well, I know that
Okay.
we won't miss Chicken Hawk the same way that you will, because obviously your relationship was different. But it was always very nice. It every time she would land on your head or
Or poop on my shoulder. Or...
pick your nose.
Yeah.
No,
So take care of my dog
she
now.
made us smile, and
For sure.
yeah, we definitely will miss her. You will miss her more. I know that's different, and I'm very sorry. So is it okay if I change the subject?
Yeah, of course. The hop.
Okay. So one of the things, Frank, that JRuss and I tend to do every once in a while is we recommend books to one another. And so JRuss, I've got a really good book. Like, dude, you got to put this at the top of your list.
Okay.
It's called Psycho Cybernetics. Have you ever heard of it?
Nope.
Oh man, Frank, do you like to read?
Not in English. I'm not
Okay.
gonna lie. Even when I watch TV, which doesn't happen a lot, I watch it with subtitles.
Okay. I don't know. They may have this book translated into French. If they do, I think everybody should. It's so good, dude. Like, and I know you're going to say, what's it about? I'm not even going to tell you. I don't know how to explain it. Just, it's good.
It's on the list.
It's about mindset. I'll say that. It's about mindset.
Okay.
Psycho is not anything. And I know it sounds like a weird title, psychotic. It's not like that. It's just to denote that it has to do with your mind and your brain. That's all it is. And cybernetic, it's very good. I'm listening to the audiobook on Spotify. Spotify Premium is super cool. Like I've got a family plan for my whole family. We all share one account, but they've got all these audiobooks are included, and I just can't stop listening. I mean, there's so many. So
Okay.
it's really good, dude. It's very interesting.
Cool.
And like, yeah, just listen to it, and then I want to talk about it.
Yeah, I'll get it done.
Hey, okay, real quick. One thing, Frank. Let me put you on the spot for this, real quick. What makes a good coach? Like, how do I be if I want to coach people, I want to help people get better in skydiving. How do I be a good coach? And along with that, this is a little bit different. Organizer. How does a person be a good organizer? Either one of those. Would you mind answering one of those? What
I'm
is
gonna
it?
go on the coach.
Okay.
I feel like often a lot of people like us who have been jumping for years and years and years, they get burnout. And I think if you love what you're doing and you love people, it's gonna help. Because I was saying that right before, if you're happy to see your students successing, because it's not about you anymore. I mean, JRuss is old, you know. I'm still young, but it's not about. I mean, JRuss still wants some medals sometime, but it's
Just
not.
by luck.
It's not anymore about us, you know. Like it's about your students, you know. It starts with all those 10M passenger, you know, and often I saw some 10M instructor, they're going for themselves. It's not about you. It's about your student. That makes sense? And if you burn out, then there is no point to do that, because you having a bad moment, your student is trying to just do whatever he think it's good to do. That makes sense? It's not about us. It's about what you're going to bring on the table of this kid or older gentleman or woman who want to learn something, and you bring them to success.
All right. Thank you, man.
That's a good answer.
All right. Well, I mean, you've done it again. You have wasted another perfectly good hour listening to the Crave Show with Chris, JRuss, and the Frenchy Frank.
The Frenchy Frank.
French Frank. American Frank.
American.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He's American. He's both now. So
two.
Do you want a last joke?
Yeah. Come on, bring it.
At the drop zone, the plane manager called Frank, and when I arrived, he was American Frank. No, he was Frank, Pilot Frank, and I was Skydiver Frank. And he became Skydiver, so it became American Frank and French Frank, and I become American. So we are good Frank and bad Frank, and I let you pick who I am. But I believe JRuss know the answer.
All right. Well, with
say.
that, you guys get out there, go skydive, man. Go jump out of an airplane with your friends. Have fun. Just do it. Do a no plan two-way. Have a good time. Like, don't overthink it, right? Like, just have a good time. We get to skydive. We get to jump out of airplanes, man. So fantastic. There you go. All right, Crave, do more.
And stay safe.
Be better. Stay safe.
So you can
Thanks,
have
you
fun
guys.
longer.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Blue skies, everybody. Bye-bye.
See ya.